Howdy. My name is Daniel Dauphin of Dauphin Horsemanship, and today I'd like to ask you, have you been over flexing your horse? So if you've watched very many of my videos, you know that I am an absolute freak when it comes to lateral flexion. I like to take that so far it's not even funny, and I find it to be the absolute foundation of everything we ask a horse to do with the bridle. That being said, there is good lateral flexion and there is bad lateral flexion, and I want to be sure that I'm habituating my horse to respond in an appropriate way. I've got Herman, my trusty skull and vertebra here, and we're going to show you a little something about how the horse's biomechanics operate. This second vertebra right here is called the axis. Now, it's not the axis of awesome or the axis of evil. It's the C2, the second cervical vertebra. It's the longest vertebra in the horse's whole body, and it has a main function of being responsible for the horse's ability to twist their head. Okay? So this first vertebra is the atlas, and it is mostly responsible for the horse's ability to vertically flex. Second vertebra, chin out from underneath pole. Now, is there a single maneuver you can think of where chin not underneath pole is a good thing? If you're a dressage rider, you're doing pirouettes and passages and piafs and other P words, you always want to have that horse's chin directly underneath his pole. That's one of the founding tenets of collection in that world. If you are a barrel racer and you get a horse torquing around the barrel like that, you can promise that his butt is coming out of gear and you've just lost some time going around the barrel. If you are a reiner and you're trying to do slide and stop, spins, rollbacks, whatever, point is, doesn't matter if you're English, Western, speed event, Western pleasure, whatever, in a single maneuver where you want a horse's nose to twist out from underneath his pole. And if you are habituating in that horse, I can promise you you're going to be causing some chronic soreness issues in the loin and the hindquarters in the horse somewhere down the road. The reason that I bring this up is to address one of my little pet peeves in the horse world. It's very, very common these days to see people get on their horse and they're going to start putting him through the paces and starting their little rituals, and they're going to ask that horse to laterally flex side to side. Now, isn't that a good thing? Sure. What could that possibly bring into the world that wouldn't be a good thing? Well, if you're taking that horse beyond his actual range of lateral flexion, he can only bend his neck so far, and then if you're continuing to ask him to bring his nose back to you, he's going to start twisting that nose and getting it back to you. You have now activated the axis, and you are now in territory that you really shouldn't be in my opinion. So just a little tip for you. Go ahead and get on your horse, ask him to flex around, but only ask him to flex around to a degree that is good. So if you want to get on your horse and you want to begin your day with one of those rituals of flexing him around and all, great. But only ask him to bend as far as he can bend well and no further. Or you'll be habituating something in your horse that you really don't want, and it's going to take you a lot of time somewhere down the road to work that habit out that you spent a lot of time putting in there in the first place. Why do it?
Okay, there were a couple other things that I wanted to point out that I didn't have the foresight to point out when I was standing there talking. One is about what you're going to see with Curly here. You'll notice see him wiggling his tongue. A little foam actually comes out of his mouth here in a few places. Now, I'm a big guy. Those things are big red flags to me, generally speaking, and I'm kind of mortified that my personal horse is on video showing these signs. I did want to explain what it actually is, though. In the springtime in the southeast, we have a certain fungus that's associated with clover. It doesn't grow everywhere. In fact, I know that it's actually in one particular paddock on my place. Horses that come out of that salivate for several days. And that's what you see Curly doing right here. And I don't know exactly what the fungus does, if it makes their saliva taste bad and they don't want to swallow it. I just know that they look like rabid dogs for several days after they've eaten it, and they just foaming at the mouth has nothing to do with the bit. Oh, what's this? Oh, that is a very, very rare Mrs. Dauphin. That's my wife. She is so pretty. And now I'm going to know if she actually watches this video or not. Okay, back to the horses. The other thing I didn't have the foresight to talk about was the safety aspect of this lateral flexion thing. So it definitely can cause pain to your horse, but let's think about how that happens. We activate the axis, we get some twist or some torque going through the spine, and that goes all the way to the hind end. It throws the horse off balance, and this is actually how movie stuntmen lay horses down. So you're watching some big blockbuster film, and the bad guy gets shot, and his horse goes all the way to the ground. How did that stuntman make that happen? He took the horse running, and he pulled his head way around, got him to twist, brought his nose to his knee, and boom, next thing you know, they're on the ground. So Curly's a big boy. I'm a big boy. I wanted to make that point, and it can happen, folks. Don't do this. Pay attention.
Hope that helps.